Now, Mary and John are an ordinary young couple. One day they decided to go out of town and spend some time in nature, so they jumped in the car. While they were driving, they suddenly saw 4 hitchhiking people at a gas station. But most of them looked pretty suspicious. There was a man in tattered clothes, a woman wearing a cape, a man with a sullen face, and a teenage girl. Who should they give the ride to? Look, the woman in a cape doesn't cast a shadow. She must be a vampire. The man with the sullen face has a vampire bite on his neck, so he's now a vampire too. The teenage girl has suspicious claws, so she must be a werewolf. Thus, the man in tattered clothes is the only one who doesn't seem to be dangerous. There's a huge crime spree happening in town. The police are swarmed, and they don't have enough officers to help everyone. The citizens need you. Buckle up and think fast. You have to catch all the criminals right away. Look at the screen and find all the suspicious people in town. There are only 2 of them, actually. First off, look at this lady. Why would she wear 3 wristwatches at the same time? These must be stolen. And since she has no bag or pockets, she had to put them all on her wrist. Next, there's this bearded man. Seems like he's got a lot of jewelry hidden in his beard. Oh, that's a weird construction. Paula and Jeremy have been married for 5 years already. They had a perfect relationship and everything was great. One day, Jeremy had to leave for a business trip for a week. However, he came back home unexpectedly 2 days later. Paula instantly realized that it wasn't Jeremy and called the police. Remember the real Jeremy who took off the wedding ring before he left for a business trip? The man who showed up 2 days later was wearing one. This is what made Paula suspicious. During an Arctic expedition, an explorer found an ice cave. He went in. Suddenly, the entrance got blocked by a small avalanche. Luckily, there were 3 other passages in the cave. But here's the catch. Each passage has a warning sign for the explorers. It says that the first passage leads to a group of Yeti, the second one leads to a huge group of mammoths, and the third one leads to hungry bears. Which passage should our explorer choose? Those warning signs must be a bit outdated. Mammoths went extinct long ago, so passage 2 must be the safest option. A young man woke up in a hospital without remembering anything, including his own name. Beside his bed, there were 3 men, each of them claiming to be this young man's brother. Suddenly, the young man had a couple of flashbacks from his childhood, and he clearly remembered that he only had one brother. Who is his real brother? The man on the right seems to be his brother. He's the only one who looks like the guy in the bed, plus they have matching tattoos on their arms. Martin's an undercover detective. He's on a mission right now, and he's pretending to be one of the staff members at a luxurious resort. His mission is to follow a dangerous criminal who's planning to steal a rare piece of art from a wealthy businessman. Martin has to report the situation to his partner Steve every day. They can't use phones to communicate, so they make codes using deck chairs and umbrellas. If the robbery isn't planned for today, there should be more deck chairs than umbrellas by the pool. If the robbery is planned for today, there should be more umbrellas. Today, Steve's flying in a helicopter over the pool to check the situation. Now, look at what you see and decide whether the robbery is planned for today or not. Yes, the robbery is planned for today. There are 5 umbrellas and only 4 deck chairs. Jessica has a twin sister, Allison. Their relationship is far from perfect, and Allison always plays mean tricks on Jessica. Today is the prom, and Jessica has 3 nice dresses to choose from: a green one, a blue one, and a pink one. But when she opened her wardrobe, she saw it was a terrible mess. That must have been another nasty prank from Allison. So, what dress should Jessica wear? She should wear the pink dress. A button on the blue dress is about to come off. Oops. And the green one was spoiled with paint by Allison. Alright, a couple of short riddles to give you a break. Ready? There's something all the people in this world do simultaneously. Disclaimer, it's not about breathing. So what is it? All the people are getting older simultaneously. Are they getting any wiser? Don't know about that. There's one thing that can fly with no wings and cry even without eyes. What is it? It's a cloud. What can you see with your eyes closed? It's a dream. Okay, enough with the easy short riddles. Let's go back to hardcore mode. Emily and Mary are putting on their makeup, getting ready to go out and have fun. They use pretty much the same things. Phones look similar, the same with lipsticks, clothes, and everything else. So, who's poor? Take a closer look at Emily. Her dress kind of gives her away, since it's an obvious knockoff. A green apple costs $1, a red one costs $2, and a blue one costs $3. What apples and how many of them did Frank buy, if we know he spent $3 and 2 bills only? Frank bought a green one and a red one. He gave a $1 bill for the green one and a $2 bill for the red one. Yeah, he could have grabbed the blue one and given the same 2 bills, but blue apples just don't exist. 3 Finn, also pronounced 3 friends, fell asleep under a tree in the countryside. While they were resting, a guy passing by painted mustaches on their faces. Once the men woke up, they started to laugh. But then, all of a sudden, they stopped. Why? Well, at first, they saw the mustaches on their friends' faces and found it funny. But then, they realized their friends were laughing too. It meant that they had mustaches on their faces as well. Aunt Jean is a huge fan of cats. She lives in a 1-story house. She has cat garden statues, a cat rug, cat wallpapers, cat cushions, and even on the fridge there are cat photos. Not to mention all 30 cats that live in her house. What painting is there upstairs? She lives in a 1-story house, so there are no cat paintings upstairs. It's right next to the fridge. Anthony, the financial director of a big company, finally persuaded new partners to sign a super important agreement. He then put this document into a folder and left it on the table in his office. When he arrived at work the next morning, the folder was gone. John gathered all the employees who were in the office at that time and asked them if they had noticed anything weird. The cleaning lady said that she had been busy washing the floor and hadn't paid attention to anything around. The designer explained that he hadn't left his working place even once. What's more, being an artist, he didn't have any interest in agreement documents. The accountant admitted that he had entered John's office to have some documents signed, but once he noticed there was no one inside, he immediately left. So, who took the folder with the agreement? It was the designer. John never mentioned that the folder was gone. He just asked if they had noticed anything weird. How would he know that the missing folder had an agreement inside? Grounds for dismissal, I'd say.
Izzy wants to open a cozy hotel in the countryside. She asks her agent to find a property that meets her goals perfectly. The agent offers 4 options, but only one of them is trustworthy. Can you help Izzy make the right decision? The first house looks pretty rich and fancy, but the ceiling and the walls are covered with mold. According to the description, the third building will only be finished by 2055. And the fourth hotel is located next to a toxic factory, so Izzy should pick the second property. Izzy heads to Rose Valley to see a property for herself, but unfortunately, it starts raining heavily, and Izzy crashes into a tree. She's fine, but her car is broken. Izzy walks through the woods and finds an abandoned mansion nearby. She enters it to hide from the rain. Suddenly, the gate shuts down behind her. Izzy wanders around the house for a while and finds 3 doors leading outside. But each way has hidden dangers. There's a waterfall of toxic acid behind the first door. There's a pool with hungry piranhas behind the second door. And the third route is filled with fire. Which door should Izzy choose? The third one. We mentioned that the doors lead outside the castle. It's been raining heavily in the woods, so the fire was gone long ago. The next morning, Izzy finally arrives at Rose Valley, and she spots 5 odd things about this place right away. Can you see them too? The house numbering is mirrored. There's a small crocodile crawling around the trash bin. The aircraft in the sky is moving backwards. The stop sign is hanging upside down. And finally, this woman waters her flowers with bleach. Izzy decides to taste the local bakery. One Dutch pretzel costs $4.05, and for the price of one 8-shaped bagel is $3. Also, they give away buns for free. Can you calculate the price of one donut? One donut will cost $1.50. This bakery takes $1.50 per hole. And this classic donut only has 1 hole. The cook brings in a fresh tray with strawberry tartlets. Can you spot which tartlet is different from the others? Each tartlet has 7 strawberries, except for this one. Izzy likes the local hotel and decides to buy the property. It belongs to Sheila, a rich and egocentric young lady. Sheila offers Izzy a deal. I'll give you a 50% discount if you can guess which one of these guys is my boyfriend. Can you help Izzy spot the right guy? It's the man on the left. They have tickets to the same event. Izzy and Sheila go to the local bank to close the deal. 3 managers greet them at the entrance, but one of these workers is an impostor. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at the bank logo. The second guy's badge matches the logo perfectly. The third lady doesn't wear any badges, but maybe she's left it on the desk. But the first gentleman has a fake logo on his badge. Therefore, he's the imposter. The next day, Izzy greets her first visitor. It's Bill. He asks her to hire him and tells Izzy his story. I was kidnapped and locked in a room. I found a note from the criminal. It said, Put $5,000 under the door. I'll come to pick them up in the evening and then give you the key. But I didn't have $1, only an expired credit card. However, I managed to get out. How? Bill used his card to push the tongue of the lock back and opened the door. In his college years, Bill was very shy. He desperately wished to find a soulmate. Bill used to visit different places to meet as many ladies as possible. And then one day, he entered a coffee shop and saw a stranger. He fell in love with her right away. Bill got the nerve up and asked her out on a date. She said, "I'll go if you guess my name," and handed him this clue. Today, this lady is Bill's wife. What's her name? Eve. 31st of December is New Year's Eve. Izzy likes Bill and she's ready to hire him. I only have one last riddle for you. There are 15 birds sitting on a fence and you throw something at one of them. How many are left? None. The rest would have flown away. The next morning, Izzy enters the hotel lobby and sees a welcoming fruit basket. The sender is unknown. Only 3 people are in the hotel today: Mike, Bill, and Jeff. Izzy questions them. Mike says, "I arrived here first and spent all the time fixing the roof." Bill says, "I mowed the lawn and the garden, so I didn't see who brought the basket." And Jeff says, "I was checking the pipes in the hotel room. Everything's fine, by the way." Who's lying? Bill. He said he had mowed the lawn, but the grass is still very tall. Repair works are over, and Izzy throws an opening party in her new hotel. There, she meets Peter, who falls in love with her right away. Izzy decides to challenge his intelligence and offers him a riddle. What word is spelled wrong in every dictionary? Peter doesn't know the answer. What about you? The word wrong is spelled wrong in every dictionary. The next day, 3 tourists arrive at the hotel and check in. Can you guess which guy is her boyfriend? This one. They have the same t-shirts. Izzy meets 3 hotel guests in the dining hall: Lily, Frank, and Kitty. One of them has recently lost all their money. Can you guess who? Lily's sandals don't look neat, but it doesn't prove anything. Although Frank looks messy too, he has many expensive gadgets. Kitty is the most elegant, but she sneaks food from the buffet and hides it in her beach bag, probably because she can't afford to buy it. Izzy goes to the hotel basement and gets lost. She faints and wakes up locked in a room without either food or water. There are 3 doors with some signs on them: the letter M, an arrow, and a heart. Suddenly, Izzy hears a voice from somewhere above. "You'll get out of here alive, only through the 4th door. Good luck." But there are only 3 doors. Izzy looks around from the floor to the ceiling. Where is the 4th door? Here it is. Each sign means a double figure. The hotel needs urgent repair work. Izzy sends her locksmith, Mike, to the construction supermarket to get the necessary tools. A couple of hours later, Izzy begins to panic. Mike never came back. She sends him a message, asking where he is. Mike replies, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to visit my sick grandfather on the way. He lives alone outside the village. There are no shops or any other infrastructure near his house, so I brought him some food and medicines." Izzy is very touched. She agrees to postpone the repairs. Mike thanks her and sends her this picture. Izzy looks at the photo and realizes that Mike is a liar. How did she know? Take a closer look at the car. The word casino is reflected in the windscreen. But Mike said that his grandfather lived in a remote area. Izzy goes to check the work of her new cleaning lady. Can you spot 3 differences between these 2 hotel rooms? Here they are. And what about these 2 interiors? Can you spot 3 differences? Over here. Esme likes horror stories. That's why she goes for a walk in a forest alone at night. At the entrance, she meets a wizard. He says,
"Don't go to this haunted place without protection. It's too dangerous. You can buy my magic potion, throw it on your enemy, and he will instantly fall asleep for a week. But be careful. 1 potion can only cope with 1 enemy."
Esme only has money for 1 potion. She purchases it and continues her walk. Esme wanders in the forest for several hours. She's about to leave before dawn, but 3 persons appear in front of her: a vampire, a vampiress, and a maniac. What should Esme do? The sun will rise in a few seconds, so the vampires will run away. Esme should spend her potion on the maniac. The next day, Esme arrives at her office and greets her 3 coworkers. They're all working hard, but can you spot who's faster? The 3rd guy. It's Saturday, and Esme goes to a safari park with her friends, Mike, Paul, and Megan. They're all delighted. Esme gets hungry and purchases a kebab. She leaves it on a bench next to her friends and asks them to safekeep her food while she's washing her hands in the bathroom. A couple of minutes later, Esme returns and sees a group of monkeys eating her kebab. She gets furious and questions all her friends. Mike says, "I went watching an owl eating a mouse, so I asked Megan to look after your kebab." Megan says, "Mike is lying. I left first to take a picture of a deer." And Paul says, "When you left, my mom called the hospital. I freaked out so badly that I didn't even look around. Sorry." Who's lying? Mike. Owls sleep during the day. Esme goes to the parking lot. Oh no! Someone stole her car. The police arrive quickly and find it across the street. The thief hit a pole and escaped. The police question 3 suspects. Dan says, "Today is my day off, so I went to Safari Park by bus." Mrs. Green says, "I was reading a book in a bakery nearby. I have bad eyesight, so I didn't see your car. Sorry." And Richard says, "I spent the entire day at my girlfriend's place. She lives nearby and sent me to the supermarket." Who stole Esme's car? Mrs. Green. Her glasses have only 1 lens. The second one is cracked, and it lies at the crime scene. Esme's boyfriend Paul is a famous chemist's assistant. They work on a secret mixture in a remote lab. The chemist leaves Paul alone in the lab and goes on vacation, so he's out of reach now. Suddenly, 2 criminals break into the lab to steal the mixture, but it's not finished yet. They begin to threaten Paul to kidnap him if he doesn't finish the mixture. 1 more substance has to be added to the tube, but only Paul's boss knows which one. Can you help Paul choose the right chemical? This poster is a clue. He should add carbon. Paul and Esme go to the restaurant to celebrate their anniversary. Suddenly, they freak out and leave because one of the customers is a vampire. Can you guess who? It's the lady on the right. She has fangs sticking out. This guy isn't a vampire because he's gonna eat a regular lunch. Esme and Paul decide to visit a vegan restaurant near their home instead. Esme makes an order, puts her bag on the table, and goes to the restroom. After a while, she returns and finds out that someone has stolen her phone from the bag. She questions 3 suspects. Paul says, "I'm so sorry. I received a call from work and went outdoors to talk. I left our stuff on the table." The waiter says, "A suspicious guy in a red hoodie took away chicken wings and left the restaurant in a big hurry. I think he's the thief." And Elle says, "I was sitting at a table on the right with my back to you. I watched a video on the phone in my headphones. I didn't see anything." Who's lying? The waiter. It's a vegan restaurant. The guy couldn't have ordered chicken wings. Paul arrives from work and finds out that his ex-coworker Max stole his dog, Cody. The criminal left a note. "Go get your dog if you can." Do you have any idea which way Paul should choose to rescue his pet? Only Route B leads to Cody. The map brings Paul to a secret lab. Max greets him and says that he has cloned Cody. Paul enters the basement and sees 6 different dogs, all looking exactly like Cody. Max says, "I wanted to make some copies of Cody because he's super cute. Now I have enough. You can take your pet back, but unfortunately, I don't remember who's the original." Can you help Paul find his pet? The second one. All the other dogs have paranormal powers. Paul's mother, Nina, throws a party to celebrate his engagement with Esme. She invited musicians to play live music. The party was awesome. When everyone left, Nina found out that all her jewelry was stolen. Nina suspects the invited musicians. Her guard checked the footage and identified the thief right away. Who stole the jewelry? This guy. He didn't put his violin into the case because it's full of jewelry. Esme returns home from work and sees Paul washing dishes. Can you guess what's wrong here? He's wearing winter gloves. Paul doesn't want to go to a family dinner. He comes over to Esme and says, "Honey, I don't feel well. I think I have a fever." Paul's forehead feels hot, and Esme lets Paul stay home. How did Paul trick Esme? Paul heated up his forehead with this hairdryer. The next day, Esme arrives at work and faces bad news. Someone has poisoned their boss during a business lunch. She checks the security footage. Can you help her spot the criminal? This lady. She brought him a poisoned drink. Paul takes Esme on a date to the local farm. Can you spot anything weird here? This guy is riding a camel. At the farm, Esme meets a pretty lady named Sheila. One of these guys is her spouse. Can you guess who? It's the third guy. He's the only one who doesn't wear any sunglasses, and Sheila has 2 pairs of sunglasses. Esme enters the farmer's market. Bertie, the local salesman, is very anxious. "I went to the toilet for 5 minutes and someone stole all the pumpkins from my kiosk." Esme interrogates 3 suspects. She asks, "What have you been doing for the last 5 minutes?" One of the customers, Leo, says,
I was choosing herbs for my signature soup.
Another salesman, Rick, replies, "I weighed a watermelon for my customer. Sorry, I don't know who sneaked your pumpkins." And finally, Rosamond, the fruit seller, says, "I received a huge order from a restaurant in the neighborhood, so I was talking to the delivery service. I didn't look around." Who's lying? Rick. There are no watermelons in his kiosk. He's selling nuts only. Paul decides to change the 5-number password on their home computer. He leaves this little clue for Esme. Can you help her crack this code? Take a look at the clue. All these 5 stars have different numbers of points. They imply the digits in the password. So the code is 75468. Paul goes on a business trip and leaves Esme alone. In the middle of the night, she senses someone's presence around her. She wakes up, goes to the living room, and spots something really creepy. Why do you think Esme reacted this way? Take a look at the table. It has no legs and floats in the air. It must be a poltergeist playing pranks. Harry uploads a dating app, hoping to find a girlfriend. He likes these 3 ladies, but 2 of them are not single. Can you guess who? The second lady has 2 shampoos on a bathroom shelf. One for her curly hair and 1 shampoo for male hair and beards. So she's probably living with her husband. And the third lady is wearing a necklace in the shape of half a heart. The second half probably belongs to her boyfriend. So only the first lady is single. Early in the morning, Harry goes to the local park for a workout. He sees these 3 runners on the way. Can you decide who's faster? The second one. What about these cyclists? Who's the fastest? The third one. After the workout, Harry enters his favorite cafe and sees a lot of people. All the tables are occupied, but one person already finished eating. Can you guess who? This guy. There's money on his table. Harry looks around the cafe and sees a crying woman. Can you guess why she's so upset? She's crying because her friend is pulling her hair. Harry is flying business class to another city. There are 4 women in the cabin. One of them is smuggling gold. Can you guess who? The fourth one. Her belly is unnaturally square. So he goes to the park and gets attacked by a crowd of zombies. Harry is terrified. He begins to run away. There are 3 possible routes in front of him, but only one of these routes will actually take him to a shelter. Can you help Harry find the correct way? Route A doesn't look simple, but it's the only way out. Harry is visiting an engagement party. His brother Kevin proposes to his girlfriend Bella with a fancy diamond ring. And she says yes. The party goes well, but suddenly, the lights turn off for 20 seconds. When the power is back again, Bella sees that someone has sneaked an engagement ring from her finger. Harry questions 3 suspects. Peter says,
I was cutting a cake in the kitchen when the lights turned off.
Allie says, I was playing the piano in the living room when suddenly it became super dark, but I'm a pro, so I continued to play blindly. And Kitty says, sorry, I've been arguing on the phone with my ex-boyfriend, so I didn't look around. Who's lying? Allie. She said she was playing the piano, but there are no musical instruments in the living room. At the party, Harry meets a pretty lady named Monica. He falls in love with her at first sight, but unfortunately, she's already married. Can you guess which one of these guys is her spouse? It's the first guy. He's the only one who doesn't hold any drink, and Monica is holding 2 glasses, one for herself and one for her husband. The party goes on and Harry meets Vlad. He's a real vampire. One of these ladies is his wife. Can you guess who? The first lady's not a vampire. She bit this cookie and smeared her red lipstick. And the second one is wearing a garlic necklace, probably to chase away evil powers. Meanwhile, the third lady has sharp ears and red eyes, so she's probably a vampire just like Vlad. But the task was to spot Vlad's wife. Nobody said that she's necessarily a vampire. Take a look at the first lady's ring finger. She has a ruby ring that's similar to Vlad's. Therefore, she's his spouse. Harry runs a hardware store chain. He arrives at one of the shops to investigate a theft. The manager says,
This morning I found out that some Xboxes are missing. They could be stolen yesterday. Only 2 guys worked last night. One of them must be the thief. Personally, I think it was Bob.
Harry asks, why do you think so?
I talked to both of them. Bob said that he saw nothing suspicious, and Zach said that he'd seen Bob put some boxes in the back seat of his car.
Harry asks the manager to take him to Bob. They approach Bob at the parking lot. Harry says, now I'm pretty sure that Zach is guilty. Why did Harry think so? Zach said Bob put some boxes in the back seat of his car. However, Bob has a 2-seat car. Harry calls the police and they arrest Zach. The manager decides to change the 7-number password on the storage door to avoid further thefts. He leaves this little clue for all his colleagues. Can you crack this code? The number of fingers implies 5. The number of angles in the triangle implies 3. The number of petals in the flower is 6. The circle implies 0. The rainbow has 7 colors. It symbolizes the number 7. And finally, the square has 4 angles, so the passcode is 536074. Harry figures out the code and changes it again to test Bob's intelligence. Harry gives him the following clue. It's a 7-digit code. The first digit is the number of zeros in the code. The second digit is the number of 1s in it. The third digit is the number of 2s. The fourth digit is the number of 3s. The fifth digit is the number of 4s. The sixth digit reveals the number of 5s. And finally, the 7th digit shows the number of 6s. Can you figure out the code? The correct answer is 3211000. Harry goes on a road trip. He stops in the middle of a desert to take pictures. Can you spot 3 odd things? Harry's shadow falls to the right, and the shadows from the cacti fall to the left. He's in the desert, but this cactus is growing in a pot. and this lizard is wearing tiny shoes. Harry rents a room in a motel for a couple of days. Unfortunately, he has a very annoying neighbor, Karen. They're arguing all the time. One day, Karen calls the local security and accuses Harry of stealing her towel. It's been raining all day long, so I didn't go to the beach and stayed in my room. Harry grabbed my beach towel from this rope. I could see from my window. He folded it and put it into his backpack. The guard immediately realizes that Karen is lying. How? The rope is outdoors. It doesn't make any sense to dry towels in the rain. Harry purchases a tour to see the local waterfalls. He takes a nap on the bus. Then he wakes up and sees that his favorite baseball cap is missing. Harry interrogates 3 tourists nearby. Sally says, "Sorry, I was sleeping too. I don't know who did it." Oliver says, "Look at me, I don't wear baseball caps, man. I prefer classy hats." And Molly says, "I think it was Sally. She's very suspicious. I'm almost sure that she tried to steal my chocolates when I fell asleep." Can you spot the thief? It was Oliver. He hid Harry's cap under his classy hat. Harry enters the local bakery. Rosie, the barista, is very upset. "I have so many coffee orders, but someone stole all the beans from the storage room." Harry interrogates 3 suspects. Louis, the cook, says,
I spent the whole day in the kitchen baking croissants, and I'm just working on a new batch. I don't have time to talk to you.
Ron, the waiter, says, "I forgot to set my alarm, so I overslept and arrived just now. I don't know who sneaked the beans." And finally, Dan, the manager, says,
I've been talking to one dissatisfied customer all morning. She was so annoying. I didn't have the chance to look around.
who's lying? The cook. There are no croissants either in the kitchen or in the bakery window. Greetings to the best Brightside detectives. Have you prepared your magnifying glasses? Then let's start.
Yeah.
A man was trapped in a dark room. His only source of light was a candle. There were 3 doors leading out of the room. Behind one of them, there was a tunnel that could help him escape. Behind the other 2 doors, there was a concrete wall. The man had a key that could open any of the doors, but he could only use it once. Still, the man managed to get away. How did he do this? He brought the candle to each of the keyholes in turn. Near the door with the tunnel, the flame started to flicker. Imagine that you're stuck on the top floor of a 30-story building and there are no stairs you could take. Your only option is to use an elevator. There are 4 elevators in front of you, but the first one is swarming with extremely venomous spiders. In the second elevator, look! There's no elevator. You can only see an empty shaft. The third elevator is filled with toxic liquid. As for the 4th elevator, a furious, hungry tiger is inside. It seems like a no-win situation, but you have to find a way out. Which elevator? You should choose elevator number 3. As soon as the doors of this elevator open, all the liquid will pour out. And the only thing you'll need to do is to step far away enough not to have your shoes soaked. Now let's check how attentive you are. Try to figure out which rabbit doesn't have a twin. A small hint. Pay attention to the matching patterns on their ears, bellies, and cute little faces. Yep, that's the one we're looking for. Unlike others, it has darker spots around its nose and on its ears. And here's a bunch of kitties with their tails sticking up. A perfect hiding spot for a little bunny. Can you find it? This white rabbit is hiding literally in plain sight. Damien has bought a new keyboard, but apparently the seller fooled the guy and gave him a fake one. Can you find the proof? The keyboard has no 5s, but there are 2 4s. Someone hid a soccer ball in this crowd of happy pandas. Can you spot it? Right, here it is. So easy to miss. A dog has run away from its master. It's now hiding somewhere among all these bulls. Can you help the worried owner find his pooch? Right, here it is. Similar, but not the same. Look at these 2 ladies. Which one seems suspicious? It's the woman on the right. Her reflection is all wrong. She's probably not human. All these people seem to be taking a shower, but which one is doing something wrong? The guy on the left, he probably just pretends to be taking a shower, but the water isn't running. Look at these people dancing at a costume party attentively. You need to figure out who is a werewolf. It's that guy in the corner. He's wearing a human mask, but his thick hair is peeking from underneath the mask. All of these people look well off, wearing some jewelry and nice outfits, but only one of them is indeed rich. It's that guy in a t-shirt. While he's focusing on his work, his bodyguards are waiting for him. Look at how attentively they're watching him and their surroundings. Which of these girls relaxing near the swimming pool is married? This girl doesn't have a ring, but she's wearing it on another finger. The second girl doesn't have a ring whatsoever. It's the third girl that's married. She must have taken her ring off before going for a swim, even though she isn't wearing it. There's a visible tan line on her ring finger. In one magic country, all animals are intelligent and rational. In one clearing, there are 10 lions and a sheep. Your task is to watch them and make sure the lions don't harm the sheep. If you get distracted, a lion can eat a sheep. But what the lions don't know is that if one of them does this, it will turn into a sheep too. In this case, the rest of the lions will probably eat it as well. If you leave this lovely company alone for some time, how many lions and sheep will you find when you come back? When you return, most likely, there will be 9 lions and 1 sheep. The main thing here is that all the animals are rational. Once the lion eats the sheep and turns into a sheep itself, the rest of the lions will understand the consequences and prefer to stay in the safety of their natural form. Oliver got a present for his girlfriend Victoria. It was a new smartphone she'd wanted for ages, but Oliver didn't give it to her right away. Instead, he put it into a box. Victoria had to figure out in which of these 3 boxes the gadget was. Each box had a note. It's in here. Your present isn't here. It's not in the first box. Only one of these notes told the truth. Where is the smartphone? If it's in the first box, it'll mean that claims 1 and 2 are correct, which contradicts the conditions of the riddle. If the phone is in the third box, then both claims 2 and 3 will be true. But if the device is in the second box, note number 3 will be the only truthful statement. Mr. Smart's wife went missing. A detective came to investigate this case. Mr. Smart told her the following. The last time I saw my wife was in the morning. She was having breakfast. When I returned home at 6 p.m., her breakfast was still on the table, but she had disappeared. After hearing the man's story, the detective immediately arrested Mr. Smart. Why did she do so? When the detective arrived at the Smart's house, the breakfast on the table was still steaming. This means that Mr. Smart had set up the scene right before he called the police. Once Mr. Blue, Mr. Red, and Mr. White meet for dinner. When they take off their jackets, Mr. Blue draws their attention to the fact that each of them is wearing a shirt different from their surname. The man in a white shirt looks surprised and says, "Yeah, Mr. Blue, you're right. Can you figure out which shirt each man is wearing?" So, let's think logically. Mr. Blue can be wearing only a white or red shirt, but we know for sure that another man is dressed in white. This means that Mr. Blue can only be in a red shirt. Mr. White could be dressed in a blue or red shirt, but the red one is already taken by Mr. Blue. So we can logically conclude that Mr. White is wearing blue. And as a result, this leaves us with Mr. Red dressed in a white shirt. Liza was a popular guitar player in a rock band. On Friday, the band was going to have a big gig. Liza's bandmates were waiting for her, but the girl was very late. Eventually, she showed up, but it wasn't Liza. It was her twin sister, Alice. She was envious of Liza, so she locked her sister in the room, took her clothes and the guitar, and pretended to be a band member. But as soon as the musicians saw fake Liza, they immediately knew she wasn't their bandmate. How did they understand? Look how long the girl's nails are. You need to have short nails to play the guitar. A man came to a fruit market to sell watermelons. After he sold half of them and half of a watermelon, he saw he had one watermelon left. How many watermelons did he bring to the market? He came there with 3 watermelons.